Okay, good morning and afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to our powered by Jitterbit EMEA partner Activate kickoff. Very exciting. We are proud and thankful to have you here on this event. Again, thanks for taking your time to learn more about the Jitterbit Global as well as the EMEA strategic direction and introductions to our powered by Jitterbit partner program. Good. Just a quick note that all our lines are on mute today, and we will have Q&A at the end of our presentations. If questions come up to you, feel free to drop them in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen, and we will ensure to track and answer them all, of course. The session will be recorded. However, we will not record the Q&A session to support an open conversation and to respect the privacy of our attendees. Good, let me introduce myself. My name is Sichtman. I'm the VP for multi-channel sales here in EMEA, meaning managing the enterprise sales team, the commercial market sales team, and recently added the alliances team, which is really cool. I have been with the company for a short 2 years, interesting 2 years. As you know, our space is interesting. It feels that the market is growing into an iPaaS wave. You know, it's like the time back in the 90s with the first websites. Why do I need a website? And then 10 years later, of course I have a website. Then around the millennium, why do I need APIs? 10 years later, of course I have APIs. And then now, today, it was, okay, why do we need an iPaaS? And moreover, we hear, of course we want to have an iPaaS. It's a growing space with over 20% market growth per year, especially in the upper mid market and the lower end of enterprise, the position that we are in. So that is very exciting. Let me quickly run you through the agenda of today. Good. We have two parts. One, a general overview of Jitterbit strategic direction, and two, a technical session, which will also highlight how this strategic direction is translated into our product. So this first part will consist out of two 1-hour sessions. In the first, we will also talk you through the partner program framework and with all the successful joint marketing initiatives that we had last year. We will also give you an update on that and what we do and what we can do in the partner marketing. After a short Q&A, we will get introduced to the global strategic direction by my US colleagues. Thank you for joining at this early hour. And then the agenda part 2, let me go here. With a 50-minute break, the second part of the Jitterbit EMEA Partner Activate will kick off. And for this session, there's a separate registration link with also a separate Zoom invite. So who will be presenting today? I've introduced myself. Flaherty, one of the founders of the Jitterbit EMEA organization, will take you through the partner program. Daniela Wearne, our senior marketing director in EMEA, will take you through all the good stuff in marketing. Happy to also present to you later on Ron Westel, our SVP for Global Business Development Channel and Alliances. Jennifer Ritchie, doing a lot of stuff in lifting our partner and global partner program. She will take you on that journey. And then in the second part, the technical part, we will have Keith Rick. I call him our field CTO for EMEA, and joined with David Barker, who will also be presented later, as we are going to add him quite soon to the technical team, as technical resource to the alliances team, which I'm really, really happy with. Good. So let me take the opportunity to say a few words on the EMEA strategic direction. Many of you will have long-standing partner relationship with Jitterbit. We are always eternally grateful for your long-standing loyalty and hard work in growing both your own and our respective businesses. That said, As you know, we have been historically successful in key ecosystems around Salesforce and Oracle NetSuite. And as society and the partner community evolve, as well as our own strategy, we want to embrace both our historical revenue and key partnerships coupled with fanning out to new hot spaces like, for example, e-commerce with vendors like Magento, BigCommerce, and Shopify. We call those dominant technology ecosystems SUNs. So what is this SUN, or better, solar system strategy of Jitterbit? As Ron, our Global Alliances SVP, will testify to later in the Activate session of today, we took a decision to diversify into new technology ecosystems several years ago. At first, we added strong US players like Epicor, Sharewell, and Workday. And in the second wave of our solar system strategy, we have added BMC, where we are working in a splendid partnership, BigCommerce, Coupa, Microsoft, and SAP. In summary, channel partners are all working together today in cooperation and sometimes co-opetition to drive both industry innovation, new solutions, and customer value. So we want to be the glue in those more and more overlapping ecosystems. And as Gartner calls it, packaged business capabilities for the composable enterprise. In short, it's just a new way of saying best of breed. We want to be the glue. We want to be in the center, and we want to support those new solutions and those ecosystems. Given the ambitious growth and aggressive growth strategy that we formulate together with our new investor, Order Group, who joined the family last November, we intend to deliver the following in 2021 and beyond. First, scaling our own business through organic and inorganic growth in the coming 12 to 36 months, meaning, although on the inorganic side, also looking at Europe and Middle East. Two, the channel as the number one go-to-market strategy for EMEA. My analysis clearly indicates that our joint efforts increases win rates and increases deal size on both ends. Three, build, increase, and leverage the competence of our channel. So Jennifer will unveil the Powered by Jitterbit delivery program. As a side note, it is good to again stipulate that we are investing in adding technical resources specifically to the Alliances team for both pre and post-sales support. Specifically, and that's four, in EMEA, we are fully committed to driving the business into new solar systems, suns, planets, and moons, which Ron will dive into more later today when he touches on the strategic roadmap around our global go-to-market strategy. Product positioning wise, we are combining domain expertise with integration experience. Just being able to deliver integration isn't enough anymore. With pre-built solutions around the life cycle of a customer, the life cycle of an employee, hire to retire, the life cycle of a product from design to after service, we can better hit the bullseye when we are solutionizing customers. Therefore, we have also brought to market the Jitterbit marketplace. And the good thing about it is that it will also be a marketplace and exchange for our partners to sell their solutions and services. So going forward, if you deliver a project and create templates, custom connectors, or other solutions, you will be able to monetize them in the marketplace. 6, where a lot of our competitors lean towards the data space, we believe in delivering accelerating of automation and business critical solutions to help the world bounce back from this post-COVID year. So we will lean in our roadmap towards the automation space with the RPA and IBPMS players. And we already have BMC, Genpact as OEM partners, and we are also connected with the leading RPA players. So a lot of good stuff. And then, of course, last but not least, we want to hit our key objectives, KPIs, and supporting our partners through collaboration in both the challenging times as the good times, as the last 12 months have highlighted. this is a high-level overview of the EMEA strategic direction. And without further ado, let me now introduce my colleague, Barry Flaherty, who has moved to a Alliance role this year. And many will know Barry, and if you don't know, you soon will. Barry, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So I'll take back the share screen. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Very much appreciated. So you can see my screen, I hope, everyone. Very good. Come back into this as well. So in terms of view, there you go. You can see that, guys. Going to presenter mode for you as well. There you go. So, hi guys, how you doing? Great to be here today. Most of you, hopefully, a lot of people on this call I recognise, a lot of familiar faces. Good to see a lot of good attendees, past, present, historic. Thank you, Steve, as always, coming into the organisation as you did a year or two ago, really getting to grips with it, really starting to help us now, grow and scale this team across EMEA. So many of you on this call will know me from various customer engagements, a lot of deals, a lot of different things that have been going on over many years across different countries, time zones, wearing that sales hat. Over the last 9 years, we've gone into battle. We've won a lot of great wins. And I think it's been a journey for myself, personally speaking, from early inception all the way through, shaping this region, shaping the size and structure of what we're doing, and now excitingly scaling it up. So it's been impressive. I've enjoyed the journey, personally speaking, having been here and worked with a lot of partners, in all kinds of ecosystems. Historically, yes, it was Salesforce and NetSuite, but generally speaking, we're ready now to come out guns blazing for what I call Jitterbit 11.0 or 12.0. I've lost track, but on the whole, it's the next installment. And I think so today, we're going to cover a lot. We're going to look at a lot of disruption, if I could put it like that. If we look at the future of where our industry is, where we are as an organization, and Ron and Jennifer will touch on this later, but there is a lot of things going on, as we start thinking in terms of now marketplaces and ecosystems, as that whole thing opens up as well. So, super exciting. For me, moving through the gears inside the organization has been exciting. Working with a lot of partners and different, and learning a lot also, what traditionally was for me when I started an on-premise solution. And then from there, we took 2 rounds of funding from Salesforce, moved into this multi-tenant cloud play back in 2014. And then, and from there, and again, diving into API management, diving into a more citizen integrator approach to the world, where the watchword really did become, reusability, trying to make things as easy as possible, canonical models. It's been a real baptism of fire. And watching not just Jitterbit as an organization, I think, but also a lot of people in our sector and our space really grow and migrate, new entrants coming in, old entrants going out. It is really super exciting to be in this space. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, let's take a step back. I think if we go back and try and take this helicopter view of the current state of affairs and the future landscape, as you can see here, there's going to be some big bets placed on the current ecosystems and future marketplaces. And Forrester are saying, out here right now as well, that 76% of CEOs in the coming 4 or 5 years reckon that business models will be unrecognizable. And the COVID thing has impacted everybody, granted, and we're not going to dwell on the COVID story today too much, but ecosystems will be the main change agent, I think, going forward. And that's already being played out with lots of M&A activity. We saw the deal that MuleSoft have done with Salesforce recently, a couple of years back, Talent this week, just in the iPaaS sector. Lots of different disruption going on, lots of different things happening, people coming into the market, people moving out, as I said. And we just see that pace of change accelerating as the world opens up, especially after this summer or early next year when people come out. But, McKinsey are talking about, at least a dozen sectors, retail, hospitality, travel, and Ron's going to touch more on this later, But what we see now is networks of networks that are essentially adding up to 60 trillion integrated network economy by 2025. So I guess my question is, what's our place in that world? And as an adjunct of that, as our partners, what's your place in that world? So today we're going to dive into, what is a traditional indirect channel? How are they tethered to, what was always traditionally financial transactions? And now we're focusing on value creation and delivering joint solutions, even between competition, even between, external networks, and partners like you guys are the glue for us that I guess bring that whole thing together and really do help us innovate as well. Now, it's an interesting number, all this change is going to happen in 4 years, if you believe the analysts and stuff like that, but really that's only 4 years away. It's not a long time, and it's already starting to happen. And we see that now in our platform. In our platform, we've got our historical endpoints and connection journey points with our partners, and most of you today will know us from that. But also coming into that as well, we're going to touch on how this is influencing our solar strategy, solar sun strategy, sorry. And I haven't just stepped off the Star Trek Starship Enterprise. For us, it really is about, certain suns and large technology organizations out there are gobbling up companies. And we've seen Salesforce acquire Slack for 27 billion. We've seen Google moving into this space, Amazon, AWS. And around that, we have the planets and suns system integrators and other ISVs as well. So I think, for all of you in this session today, you're going to hear a lot about us talk about ecosystems, marketplaces, partner types, referral, reseller, OEM, MSP as well. So the question is, past, present, or future, really what we want to do today is kind of challenge you a little bit as well, if we're honest, about, how you go to market. What's your own partner strategy? What's your own go-to-market strategy? How does that dovetail nicely with what Jitterbit's proposing? And we're going to touch on that as well. So next slide, partner lifecycle. So, in layman's terms, I think what we're saying here is, we've launched this powered by Jitterbit partner program. I think it was back in 2018 now. So we've been refining that as we've gone along, trying to understand that partner journey and the life cycle and adjusting and enhancing, all the activities and benefits around that. Taking a step back, I've always looked at partner relationships with most of you along the lines of the deals we've done, the engagements we've had, and the 4 pillars. So I've always taken a clear lens of what it's taken to be successful, and a lot's changed in that time. Increasingly what we've seen is GDPR in this EMEA region, compliance, regulatory, security. That seems to have doubled down a lot. Traditionally, when I first started getting involved in selling Jitterbit, it was very much, sell the features and benefits, turn a license key on, and off you would go. But with cloud and data czars and data protection officers and this extra layer of compliance and regulatory stuff that's going on out there now, we've started breaking this into different subcategories, if you will, and bear with me. So a lot of it needs more rigor, a lot of it needs more cadence and joint success. So I talk initially about the 4 pillars. Jennifer will touch on this, and maybe I will later, about the 6 pillars. And that's different kinds of partnering, as I call them. So if we're going to drive success together, the key thing across all these functions of our respective organizations is making sure that you understand what partner type you are, and then aligning the different departments in our respective organizations as well. So if we take the top left here and we talk about engage, a lot of you have been onboarded, done the training, have done joint projects with us, fantastic. But a lot of you on this session today who are coming into our partner ecosystem haven't. So what does that look like? So let's break it out a little bit. If I take the sales and commercial teams, once you've done your training and your license is set up and you've got your partner sandbox and off you go, and potentially there's always 1 or 2 live projects that are driving the agenda, and that's always good for everybody because it focuses and accelerates that early stage engagement, if you will. So the sales guys are sitting down and we're essentially doing account mapping, sales intelligence. We're having that regular cadence. And I think a lot of you on this session will have spoken to myself and Steve or Tom or Maria over the last few weeks and months as well, where at the top of the year, we're just trying to get our ducks in a row What's coming over the horizon? How do you feel about business this year? Let's talk about, obviously the COVID thing. You might be well focused in a particular ecosystem or a size of customer, and that's important as well, so that we're aligned. And we're going to do a lot more what we call partner mapping, account mapping, so that we're aligned in terms of what you think is realistic. Should we set some KPIs? Can we dive into it? What kind of initiatives can we stimulate with you? Spend some money as well. So I think ensuring strong orientation, sign up, licensing, making sure that the technical and sales and commercial teams are aligned, talking about the architecture design and the security aspects of what we're selling as a SaaS company is key on both sides of the table. Then if we go to the enablement box here on the top right, product training, delivery, readiness, and readiness in general, that knowledge transfer is, I guess, our responsibility to you. I think as partners, we need to navigate the training, and the Jitterbit University, as good as it is, might only get you so far. So it's what do we do beyond that? Deep dive technical sessions with pre-sales teams, making your people feel comfortable, that we can walk hand in hand, making sure our customer success and partner success teams are onboarding you properly as well, that we're aligning to value, that we are essentially making sure that we've got some milestones as we go on this journey. And so that anything that falls between the cracks, we can address that quite quickly. Because ultimately, we're all in the business of growing our businesses. If you're successful as our partners, then we become successful. And our customers, as an extension of that, get the solutions and stuff that they need. So then measuring all of that, against KPIs and expansion, but ultimately, I've always been a big fan of making sure that, the customer's getting the solution, and then that our pre and post sales teams are working in there with our customer success architects. And so we always get asked the question, how long does a project take to deliver? And it's, not to be vague, but, it depends what the preferred method of doing it is. Is it Jitterbit doing all the work? Is it the partner doing the work with Jitterbit? Is it just the partner doing it? Or in most cases, the customer wants some degree of involvement in those projects as well. So we want the customer and the partner and Jitterbit all working together as a coalition of the willing, as I'm always keen on saying, to make sure that it's engendering confidence in our platform, but also you as the partner, because most of the time you guys are in the box seat and you're driving that engagement and initiative as well. And then growing, I think this is a key part, and Daniela is going to touch up a bit on this later, but once we have those live and happy customers in production, Salesforce, like many, try and bring these stories to life really well and really successfully. They've got the deep pockets to go and hire the head of Fox Studios, for example, at the Partner Force conference I was on last couple of weeks ago. And it's great because it just gives a panache and a certain degree of, bringing those, customer stories to life. And I think, as Daniela will demonstrate, the use cases, once the pre-sales, the post-sales team have implemented that solution with the customer, there's nothing better than just to see that whole thing come to life, that we can share those stories in events and on our social media channels as well. So in summary, build once, repurpose, and, getting you guys to ask customers to, go to market with us and really work collaboratively with us. So in summary, I think the marketing format of tomorrow is probably less broadcast and probably more interactive. And it's about everyone's contribution, Jitterbit, you as the partner, and us to bring that to life. So what kind of partner are you? I mean, I think this is a simple slide and I might extrapolate this out in a second. So identifying the kind of partner, I mean, historically, we tended to steer toward referral reseller, and then increasingly we're getting pulled into OEM and MSP type agreements. But if you think about it, what's the right partner eligibility for you? Now, most of you on this call might have started as a referral partner just to get started, get your sandbox, get your training, get your university, and so on. Some of you in far-flung parts of the EMEA region will have a much closer relationship to the customer and prefer a reseller engagement, not just because of the margins, but also because you're close to your customer and you know that customer better. And then increasingly, what's interesting for me is historically what drove our channel was mainly referral business up to about 18 months ago. And then it's probably gone 80-20, 70-30 the other way, as we increasingly now see a lot more OEM MSP engagements and a hybrid of both as well. So, you know, if we take different ecosystems and our drive to those ecosystems away from just our historic business, you know, it could be ServiceNow, BMC, could be Workday, could be Microsoft, could be BigCommerce as we start branching out into different use cases and solutions. I think it's really, really important to understand, all of you today, you know, which ecosystem do I sit in? What target market and size of company am I targeting? And, you know, what I want to do with Jitterbit increasingly, and you'll see this now with the marketplace and everything that we're bringing out, stop thinking about this in terms of Jitterbit, build it, and then I just ask them if they've got a connector for something. And that's a real seismic change in everything. What we're trying to do now is sell on use cases and solutions first and foremost as well. So naturally, it's a two-way street, you know, channel partners, you know, as you diversify into new opportunities. But I think, you know, we'll show you the marketplace between Jennifer and Keith later on. But today, you know, let's really start thinking about your service offering. Are you selling with Jitterbit? Are you selling to and through Jitterbit? And these are questions that we want to sort of dig into. So if we extrapolate it out, we're now inventing a different classification of partnering types across EMEA by geo, product, go-to-market, and also increasingly now beyond that again for certain sub-markets, you know, two-tier distribution and fulfillment partnerships for super resellers as well. And so we'll go where the money is, of course, we'll go where the opportunity is. And so we want to bring you on that journey, and we're really, you know, in bed with you. So it depends as partners, if you can come back and we do our partner mapping and partner account planning together, and we can kind of size and, you know, take the size of the market and what the opportunities are in our respective vertical industries and geos, and then start looking at where the white spaces are in the deals, what kind of other iPaaS vendors or historical legacy enterprise service bus vendors are we running into in those opportunities, and then really work together. And I think in Salesforce parlance, coming back to that, you know, really we're starting to see a lot more frenemies or co-opetition. And I think Steve touched on that earlier, didn't he? Where we're asked to engage in all kinds of suspicious acts of working together in a coexist model to deliver that solution for the customer. And it's less rip and replace, and it's more how we go to the market together in a phased approach to deliver the value for you guys as the partner and the customer. So what's on the table? What's on the offer? So, you know, if we go left to right, you can see, I guess, the partner comparison model. There's different tiered benefits and different considerations in terms of, you know, classifying yourself as this kind of partner. Now, historically, having worked with some of the larger GSIs, they're Switzerland, they're neutral. They don't want any kind of agreement because they have to be seen to be that. As we move into more different ecosystems and boutique firms, there was a lot of Chinese walls between very similar partners. And as we move more into OEM MSP, we're now seeing this co-opetition model as well. And I think that's important because people and partners like you are looking for an annuity-based business where you're chasing the predictive and subscription-based revenues, perhaps, as opposed to just giving us a name, letting Jitterbit do the heavy lifting. And there's lots of considerations. It could be license rights. It could be who takes first line support. Does Jitterbit lead out in terms of go-to-market and solutions, or do we kind of do this together? So there's lots of different moving parts. You know, the Jitterbit team will do more heavy lifting if you want, if that's the model that you prefer, because a couple of factors, I guess. One, you don't have the right headcount, or you don't have enough resources, or you've got a fully utilized bench of you know, skilled consultants that just don't have the time to do that, because maybe your core business is mostly Salesforce, NetSuite, or another ecosystem with bits of Jitterbit on the side. So how do we create the commercial conditions for you as our partners to feel that there's enough there on the license percentage, plus there's enough revenue on the upside in terms of the service delivery? And I think if you take that on a customer basis and then extrapolate that out by maybe a degree of 5 to 10, it's got to be commercially interesting for you to engage with us as well. So as we move from left to right, you know, some of you will have questions today about, hey, I've been a referral partner for quite a while, but I'd quite like to, you know, explore potentially the other options. We do have a myriad of different reseller partners who have a hybrid contract with us where they might be MSP and reseller. And I think that's the bit we'd like to dig into to you today. So this is a busy slide, and I might have shared a lot of it with you before, but in practical terms, this, you know, how do you get in the game? How do you engage with us? You know, I've built a lot of partner programs myself over the years with Cisco and Intel and Hitachi and quite a few others. And, you know, going back to 2003, so I'm giving my age away a little bit, but I've seen them done really well, and I've seen them done really badly. And I think what we're trying to do now here at Jitterbit is really try and put the framework in place, the foundation, the building blocks, if you will, to really deliver a phased approach for a wider program framework. And Jennifer's going to touch on this a little bit more later, but we've got some early snippets of you to see the partner portal, how you can come in, self-select, the deal registration, get yourself involved, you know, cross-check where you are on your onboarding and training plans and stuff. But in layman's terms, I guess, what does this mean for you guys? Well, many of you have, I guess, historically gone to market with us on a services or a system integrator engagement approach, where you might take a skim on the annual license and the implementation, but really only at scale does it become commercially interesting. You know, when we looked at historically, you know, the 80-20 classic Pareto lens of, you know, which partners are really working for us and vice versa, which ones are truly engaged, just taking a revenue approach to that would be quite simplistic. So left to right, if you're getting onboarded, you know, with this new partner program framework, it's important that you feel that you've got that support of the partner account manager. There's a structured joint business planning in place at the top of the year. So tell us what your goals are as a business to grow, revenues, sizing, scaling team. As we move into other ecosystems, it's quite interesting that some of you want to diversify away from your particular ecosystem back into another one and vice versa. So, you know, we can facilitate that, which is great. It's about bringing people like Keith and Chris and David into the team as well, and getting the training and the onboarding done, that your licensing is set up and that, you know, the foundation is in place. And then in terms of the orange column here, you know, a lot of you on the session today will have jumped into the Jitterbit University. A lot of you will have your badges, which is fantastic, and there'll be more innovation and exciting new sort of educational pieces and modules coming upstream as well. We are going to be invoking a lot more sort of strategic and formalizing the playbooks around partnering as well. And then there's little touch points around the newsletter. One thing I will touch on actually, and this was a real eye-opener for me down here, was the security regulatory compliance piece. It's a big area, you know, where are your data centers? We've had a lot of external factors around Brexit, for example. You know, people are comfortable living on the Microsoft stack around Azure. Some are happy on AWS. So, you know, are you GDPR compliant? Are you HIPAA compliant? You know, can you guarantee and show us your credentials around SOC 1, SOC 2? And that's an area that, because we get asked it a lot, we're anticipating our partners will as well. So do please talk to us about that so we can get aligned. I'll come back to the marketing piece in a second, but the natural thing typically in terms of partner program beyond training, licensing and orientation and the training is how to sell. So we get asked a lot about, okay, we understand it, we think it's an exciting proposition. How do we train our people? How do we take your collateral? How do we understand the pricing model and how to size a project? You know, have you got pre-built requisites that we can leverage, data sheets, competitive battle cards and things like that? Then beyond that, and we're closing customers, how do we design and build? How do we size and scope projects? You know, who does the work? Where does it make sense for Jitterbit to dive in and do projects together with us and vice versa? A lot of you on the phone and on these sessions are very comfortable doing the training and taking it forward. Some of you need a little bit more hand-holding sometimes, but I think with the adjunct of our solution development, templates, recipes, and things that you'll hear about today, it's just going to engender more confidence that you feel supremely confident and autonomous, if you will, to sort of stand on your own, which means that you can capture more of that service revenue. And the really super exciting bit now with the marketplace listing coming out is you're all able to now dive into our platform and start development-wise building solutions, building templates, building endpoints and stuff using the connected SDK and stuff that we're giving you. And what's exciting about that is you can then not just have this Jitterbit to partner relationship, but partner to partner. So then you can then go out into the marketplace together and really start cross-selling this and building really cool things. Maybe it could be Epicor or BMC or things where there's a certain degree of IP around, or common use cases and design patterns where we can create best practice guidelines and really start growing this whole marketplace together as well. And that's super exciting. So I think in summary, with the rollout of the whole partner program framework and the ability for partners to skill up and sell this IP and solutions on their own, this new world, as I'm calling it, will offer a much more proactive and exciting horizon for you all, not just to phone us reactively, but then to dive into the platform and really just jump into it and get going. So this programmatic approach means that you can engage us at all levels, from technical, architecture, and the pre-sales team. And then coming back to marketing, once we've delivered those early wins and great successes with our customers, how we are going to excitedly push that out into the ether and tell these stories and tell these messages. And also then for other people in industry, it's going to be a real eye-opener. So some of the stuff we're doing right now in the advertising agency space and fintech and media, industries in distress, if you will, because of COVID, they're working with less budgets, increased pressure, a lot of things have to be delivered quicker, etc. And I think that time to value story that Jitterbit delivers, that agility, that speed, that coexist model, which is non-threatening, means that we should all be able to go into these accounts and these customers and really show some quick value as well, and then bring the stories to life. And so Daniela is going to touch on this, but we'll share some examples we've done around webinars, podcasts, fireside chats, and really brought those stories to life, and then get that out there. And then these are what I call shared assets that we can all leverage and use, and they all have a shelf life of 12 to 18 months. So what's the call to action, I guess? What's the plan? So a lot of information today. It was very content heavy, what I've just shared in the last 25 minutes or so. I appreciate that. But we want to reinforce the message today. So with the rollout of the partner program and everything, what we want you to consider and take away today is a couple of things, really. Really do think about how you're going to market as a company yourselves. Take a step back, really sit back and think, okay, this is our ecosystem, this is our area of expertise. How can we maximize that? How do we get the best out of this platform, empower our people, make them more productive as well? And then from there, I guess, how do we build joint solutions and build this plan of action with Jitterbit? And you can talk to your alliance director, you can talk to your account manager, your customer success manager as well. And I think with the customer, product, and employee 360 solutions that we'll be rolling out as well, how we can work together to really shape the future of our joint businesses, leveraging what we're building. And Daniela will touch on that. This new programmatic framework, the partner portal, is coming out as well in a few weeks, a few months. It will be there. I think we've got a big launch event in May in the US. So I won't speak to that just yet. I think I'll leave Jennifer and Ron to tell you more about that excitedly. But I'll leave you with these couple of questions. How proactive can you be? How proactive do you want Jitterbit to be? Where are the gaps in how we kind of currently work together? And, with this wealth of opportunity, I think there's bags of opportunities for us both, in this new networked economy. We are listening, we can do partner surveys. I think a lot of you have jumped onto our partner advisory councils as well. And, we want this to be as interactive and as open as possible. And on that, it's not just me. I mean, obviously myself and Steve have spoken today, but you can reach out to Catherine Weiss in the DACH and Eastern European region, who's very proactive, very willing, and has built over the last few years a really great network of our partnerships in that region. Roderick Ram is joining us back from the US. He's coming back in May as well. He'll be taking over, I think, Benelux, parts of Europe. Evelyn joined us again late last year as a partner success manager, and David, who's going to be presenting with Keith later, is also going to be stepping into the partner technical delivery manager role as well. So, I think between the people on this team, plus obviously Jennifer, Ron, and the wider Alliances team stateside, there's really, lots going on. We're expanding, we're proactive, we're busy bees, and we've got a lot of territories to cover. I think we've got 120 countries. So lots of time zones, we're full of beans. I think most of you who've engaged myself and others in this team will know that generally we're quite responsive. We're really quick to get on the mark with you, whether it's questions around partnering and pricing. I think bringing you guys into that portal and programmatic thing as well is going to really help, because we can automate a lot of those processes. That said, we always love a live conversation. So, really do reach out to us. And with that, I'll pause there and hand over to my colleague, Daniela Wearne, who's our head of EMEA marketing, and she can step you through some of the really cool things that we've been doing over the last, 6 to 12 months, really, as we accelerate. So Daniela, over to you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Barry. Just going to quickly share my screen. Okay, I hope everybody can see my screen. Great. Well, welcome everyone. It's really nice to see so many familiar names of everyone who's joining today. And for those who haven't met me yet, my name is Daniela Wearne. And I joined the Jitterbit team as marketing director for the EMEA region about 2 years ago from Sophos and previously Microsoft. They have been busy implementing the whole range of marketing mix across direct, digital, and partner marketing. So historically, our marketing strategy was very event-centric, and we've met many of you at Salesforce or NetSuite events, or you would have previously attended some of the Jitterbit partner meetups we held in London and in Munich. I mean, for me, this all seems a very long time ago. And obviously the pandemic hit and we all had to kind of rethink our go-to-market strategy, and we had to move from live events to embracing a more digital and virtual approach to staying connected with our prospects, with our customers, so we can basically keep driving the business forward. The challenge was, and in my opinion still is, how do we really stand out of the crowd and keep the message relevant? So reinvention and embracing our partnerships with you all, our key channel partners, has been even more mission critical. We have worked closely with many of you in the past, and we've evolved our joint marketing approach in a very creative, but more importantly, cost-effective way. What it also has allowed us is to really strengthen our partnerships. And for those of you who have just recently joined us, we're really looking forward to supporting you in your efforts to drive awareness and to communicate our joint value proposition. So how can we support your marketing efforts and help you put a framework in place to build a foundation for our journey together? Well, the way I look at this is a three-phase approach. So first we start walking together, then we trot together, and eventually we're going to start running together. Walking is what I call the low-hanging fruit. So setting up your website positioning, adding a logo, and announcing our partnership is easy to put in place and also very cost-effective, if not free. As a next step, we then start to trot together. Here we look at creating co-branded collateral, host a joint fireside chat, or we can join you as a guest speaker at your events or webinars. Once we have then picked up momentum and have delivered a joint customer project, we can then start running together by bringing our joint customer success story to life. Ideally, we do this with a case study that we can then, that can also be kind of leveraged for thought leadership articles. I'm going to show you a great example of this later on. So over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the materials and the resources that are available to you to drive our joint marketing efforts. And I will also give you a couple of best practice examples that will show you how we can walk, trot, and eventually run together. So what marketing resources are available to you? Our Global Alliances team have created really great tools such as the partner marketing kits that include brand guidelines and templates, as well as the website positioning guide. This provides you with like talking points, linkable assets, SEO keywords, example landing page, logos, and animations. So basically anything you really need to showcase our joint message. This is especially useful for those of you with smaller marketing teams. So if you would like to find out more, please contact your partner manager, so either Barry or Catherine, and they will help you. Another very useful asset is our resources library. Here you can search for content, including ebooks, solution sheets, webinars, and also case studies. And finally, the Find a Partner page, where you can view and search all our partners in EMEA, APAC, and the US. Marketing communication. So we're always focused on keeping you up to date on the latest news and developments in the form of bite-sized short format content. Many of you will receive our quarterly global partner newsletter, as well as the Jitterbit regional partner newsletter. But the great news is that our global team is also currently working on launching the Jitterbit partner portal. Barry mentioned that earlier, but this will give you access to the latest news and marketing assets. And I think it's great, very exciting, and Jennifer will touch on this in the next session. So the marketing resources and communications are very useful tools to build your marketing foundation. However, in my opinion, the least expensive yet most effective marketing initiative you can take advantage of, really, is to position yourself digitally. The drive to deliver content with fast turnaround times has enabled us to create a marketing readiness path for all our partners to help communicate our joint value proposition and go-to-market strategy. So here are a couple of examples of the work we've done over the last year. Hopefully this will give you a little bit of inspiration of how we can eventually walk, trot, and run together. So creating a landing page, the Jitterbit positioning. I mean, creating a landing page on your website is just a very effective way to showcase our partnership. Once you've added the Jitterbit logo and have linked to the Jitterbit website, we can then add your logo to our Find a Partner page and link it back to your website. Also, this is a super useful from a SEO, SEM perspective. I'm happy to talk to you more about this. But here are two examples I would like to show you. So here on the left side, you basically see in the case of DIA, the Interaktiven partner in Germany, they created a dedicated landing page. They added the logo to our website, leveraged the Jitterbit animation, added their customer video testimonial, created a resources library with co-branded assets, and also added a joint ebook we created some time ago. A really great example of how to build your landing page. On the right-hand side, you see the example of Brightbridge Solutions. They have positioned the Jitterbit section on their partner site and added a short paragraph around why they're partnering with us, really. And then there's a little link where it says learn more. And that section is basically linked to a co-branded asset. Another very effective way to create awareness are partnership announcements. So we have used co-branded partnership social cards that you can see here to post via our Jitterbit account. And that's the social account. So the posts include a link to the relevant partner page and a copy to announce our partnership and to communicate our joint value proposition. These can either then be reposted on the partners, or the partners basically uses to create the creative, basically the actual social card, to create their own posts. It's just, again, a very easy and efficient way to share our joint message. Now, partner quotes. Leveraging quotes is basically, why you're partnering with us. Just another great way to create awareness, especially the ones that you can see here where we add a photo, a name, and a job title tend to get really very positive responses. We often do this as a follow-up post from partnership announcements to just continue to create awareness. Again, they're linked to the relevant partner page, and our partners then tend to use them, repost them. And by the way, we've done some of them localized as well. So we've done German and French posts, depending on the region. So we can work with you to make it even more relevant for yourself. Now, here's a best practice example of how we work together. So this is the example of VRP. So again, you've got the website positioning. Basically, they've created a Jitterbit landing page in their partner section with a link to our website. They added quotes from their MD and as well as Joost, our VP here in EMEA, and created some copy around why they're partnering with us. As a next step, we use co-branded social cards for our partnership announcements. As you can see, we did one social card with both our logos linked to the VRP landing page, and then did a follow-up post with a social card showing a quote from Joost again, and basically outlining why we're partnering with VRP. What VIP also have done, which is fantastic, is they created their own social card from using the quote from their MD in the UK. It's basically using their own design, their own look and feel, and posted it from their account. We have then just reposted this. I think this is just another great example to see how we can maximize the reach of our posts and kind of work together. So once we've set up your landing page and we've created awareness around our joint partnerships, we can then look at how we can trot together. So here we basically aim to communicate our story in a bit more interactive way. So during 2020, just for your information, on a regional level, during the pandemic, we've basically worked with many of you to host over 20 co-branded partner webinars. Here are just a couple of examples of how we use the social cards to help with the promotion. So on the left, you see the example of Sophiegate. They created their own design, adding the webinar title and the Jitterbit logo, and have posted this then via their social accounts. We again reposted this to help spread the word and obviously to help drive registrations. In the other examples, our design teams have helped to create designs around this, and then the partners have then either used our posts and basically reshared them, or they created their own with a link to the registration page. When we have a joint customer story, and Barry was touching on this earlier, we just really want to bring this to life. So what we can do then is also to look at co-sponsoring third-party events in form of webinars, but I think even more podcast or fireside chats. In this example here, we've co-sponsored a virtual event together with Saint-Marquis. We supported the promotion via our own social media channels, just to help spread the word and to drive registrations. Again, just another example of how we can partner with you. Now, again, here's a best practice example of how we can trot together. So here's an example of our partner, Dia die Interaktive in Germany. I showed you the website positioning earlier, but what I really want to focus on is the video testimonial. This is something we've done pre the pandemic, obviously at a live event, but it's basically a 3 to 5 minute recording talking about your business and about our partnership. I mean, in the virtual world today, we can also do this, so it doesn't need to be a live event to wait for a video testimonial, but it's just another great way of positioning ourselves. And again, something interactive to add to your website. Again, you can see partnership announcement. As per the previous examples, they basically leveraged our post to repost this via their social media accounts. And last but not least, we've also done a webinar with them. So a similar approach to what I outlined earlier, but so they promoted this via their social channels, and then we reposted this. We reposted it. And then after the event, we then created a sort of an on-demand landing page on the Jitterbit resources page. And we basically repurposed this as a joint reference and can be used by their sales teams, their partner teams, their marketing teams to continue to drive awareness. So I promised you earlier to show you an example of how we can run together. And this is an example how we can jointly position ourselves as thought leaders for a specific industry, either with a specific use case, or like in this example, a trends piece. So what we've done here is basically we've worked with 8 of our media agency partners to get their view on what is in store for the media industry in 2021. We engaged the help of a PR agency, and we then created articles which then have been published, as you can see in this case, in Brand Chief and New Digital Age. What it does is just gives us fantastic coverage, but also our partners. And we continue to leverage this. So to make the most of it, really, we then, as you can see here, we created social cards with individual quotes from the media agency partners, and then we're currently posting them, still happening on a weekly basis via our social media to create awareness and to drive demand. And I know that Barry, who is working a lot with our media agency partners, is using this on a continuous basis to basically showcase our expertise in this area. So call to actions. I mean, I hope this brief, very brief whistle-stop tour has given you some insights into how we can drive our joint partner marketing. Please make use of the tools and the resources that I've shown you earlier. And if you would like to find out more how we can support your marketing efforts, then please reach out to your partner manager or email me. My email address is here. Also in the follow-up, we will share the recording as well as this deck so you can leverage this as a reference or guide. Thank you very much. We've done a quick poll. I don't know, Jennifer, if you managed to launch the poll, but we would like to find out a little bit more about your marketing teams and what would be useful to you. So please, if you could participate, we would really appreciate that. And I'm just really looking forward to working with you to drive very exciting and creative joint marketing campaigns. So I'm going to pass back to Steve for the Q&A, and thanks again for your time today.